This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning to all of you out there in internet land, YouTube land, Apple, Spotify, VirginiaPreps.com, Twitter, or X as they call it now, Facebook. We're streaming all over the web on Cova Sports TV. This is our first May 2024 edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk with the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. We've got tons and tons of people behind the scenes making this all possible, including, Ed, we have a brand new sponsor. Have you heard who the brand new sponsor is?
No, but I'd like to hear it.
Nando's. Shout out to them. They're on board. Go check them out. Nando's. Get you some good food. They got chicken, I understand. Townsend. Nando's.
That's what I got to know. If it's a sponsor with food, I got to know it is because we got to go check them out. I'm sure.
I wonder if you walk in as Ed Young, if they'll ban you or you'll get like a free appetizer or they'll say do the dishes. It might be one of the A, B, C, or D. Let us know. Cast your vote this morning on Cova Sports TV. Magic 8 Ball.
Let me check the 8 ball because I've been relying on it. Does Ed Young get a complimentary food at Nando's, right?
Yeah. It probably says, who is Ed Young?
All signs point to yes. I'll take that. We don't got to do 2 out of 3 on that one.
What about me? Did you shake it for me? What does it say for me?
All right, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Do I got to bring Hatfield and he's got to
I'm asking for trouble on this one.
Sneak a free meal. Possible. That don't help. I thought the 8 ball was definite.
Yeah, I'll take a possible. It's better than nothing.
Possible. I probably take care of me. I can talk him into taking care of you. I think so.
We've got a lot working on today's show. It is Kentucky Derby Day. We're going to make our Derby picks. Ed probably hasn't looked at the field, couldn't tell you the name of one horse. I have been meticulously breaking this down to tell you which horse is good for long distance, which good is not so good for long distance, the track, the jockey, all those things, the trainer. I've been looking at this long and hard, so we'll do that in the final segment of today's program. We efforted a couple of our horsey people.
I got the winner. There's no way. I actually got my horse in there.
We'll save it. Don't give it. Don't give it away
yet.
Don't give it away.
Give it away yet, but I got the winner.
All right, if you say so. We've got a couple of special guests that will join us, including Phillip Sims, the former record-setting quarterback at Oscar Smith, set the Vitch's record for passing yards and touchdowns in career that was later broken by another Oscar Smith QB and Sean Mitchell. We'll chat with him at around 11 a.m. They got a big 7-on-7 coming up next weekend at Princess Anne High School, which will alter when we do this show. In fact, I'll probably have to do the show a little earlier or later because there's a bunch of teams around the state coming down for that one over at Princess Anne High. And I caught up with him, in fact, last week at the U.S. Army Combine that we took some photos, did some write-ups. My man Will Garlick was out there. And after we were done last week at the PLEX, did some work. Then you'll actually hear an interview from there, including with the current Oscar Smith defensive back in Jahmari DeLoatch, who Ed got the invite to the U.S. Army All-American game based on his performance. And one of his Tiger teammates will also be highlighting on Virginia Preps in Jaden Dabbs, who's committed to Army. More football players you'll hear from because we're already making the rounds for all these colleges coming in, showcase days. It'll be here before you know it. We caught up with Markus Hopson of the reigning 3-time state champion Phoebus Phantoms. He's got a bunch of offers, including Navy, by the way, among many others in his list. You'll hear from him later in the show. And then coming up at about 10:30 a.m. Eastern in about 15 minutes or so, Russell Savage will stop by. They've got a big sports cards, comic book, collectible expo next week. You see it on our screen right there, coming up at the Field House, which is right there next to the Sportsplex. You got all kinds of great things going over there by the Sportsplex. Of course, you got the Sportsplex, Field House, and then you got the Field House, Sportsplex, Field House, and the National Training Center, I should say, where you have field hockey all the time going on over there by the Plex. Stop by next week. You got free admission to the Field House with the autographs. You see Rick Doc Walker, Bobby Dandridge, Ed Glenn, Joe Washington, Bill Pulsiver, and DJ Dozier. A couple of 757 greats, and Dozier, who starred at Kempsville High in Virginia Beach, and Dandridge, who was one of the greats, the Greyhound, as they call them, at NSU, Norfolk State University. Behold the green and gold. So that's all coming your way, coming up on May the 11th next Saturday. So, and they have trade night coming up on Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. So Russell will stop by in just a little bit to discuss that a little bit more in depth. And again, that show next week taking place at the Fieldhouse right by the Sportsplex. But Ed, a lot happening in the world of sports. Admirals got themselves a victory. Kudos to them as they took care of business in game 1 in their second round series against Adirondack. Got it done on the road. It's now scrolling across our ticker as they got that first playoff series win in 10 years. They took care of business with some goals, lots of goals, which we know you love goals, as they beat the Adirondack Thunder in their North Division Finals opener, getting the job done 7-4. And then they have a game tonight, game number 2. Game number 3 comes your way at Scope on Wednesday for the Admirals. Maybe Ed will make his second appearance. You'll have to wait and see. Maybe he'll sign autographs on the concourse and get a chance to get on the ice with the Zamboni, which is on his bucket list. And how about the Tides last night getting a combined no-hitter in the W, as everything is starting to hop for them. They're on a nice little win streak here. And so 2 Norfolk teams, Admirals and Tides, getting W's from the minor league, professional hockey, and baseball ranks. They're getting some W's for our 757 fellas on the ice and on the diamond.
Well, get out and see them play. The bottom line is get out and see them play. The Tides are exciting to watch. Admirals exciting to watch. They're in the playoffs. How much better can it get? Wednesday night's the next Admiral home game for the playoffs. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put that on the agenda. People got to get out and see them play and support. It's our professional teams. They're not major league, but they're professionals, and get out and see them play. I've told people, I'm not a big hockey fan, but when I went to the Admirals a couple weeks ago, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything around, the people, the game, and make sure you bring a jacket.
Yeah, it gets cold in there. And speaking of, by the way, I'm wearing one today. It's gotten colder outside. In my house, you see the piano, the fireplace, everything. You do realize in this mansion that I live in, I'm out of air conditioning right now. I have no AC. No AC. So the last 4 or 5 days, I sweat late at night for other reasons. I've really been sweating lately the last few nights. And there's other reasons I've been sweating in the past, as you could well document, but our audience doesn't care about that. But I'm sweating because I've had no AC, and my temperature, let me look at the gauge over here. Right now it's at 79, which is okay, but I've literally been at 90 in my house.
How about just go open a couple windows?
I don't have many windows.
Your proverbial mansion over there. Let's see.
I don't have many windows.
Open the windows is what you got to do. Open the trap door underneath the coffee table.
Oh, I could do that.
People, let me for the new listeners that have coming in, and by the way, I tell you what, we're picking up more and more. I've had people tell me they finally are able to find this show. They're watching it. They're interested. They like it. It's funny. It's informative, and I appreciate everybody's jumping in. But I do have to tell you, everybody out there, this dude sneaks into his neighbor's house when we do the show from home.
Do not sneak
not
in
his mansion.
You're going to get the cops around here. We don't need the cops.
Go play the piano. Let me hear something. As Deke said to Arthur one time, play something on the piano, Arthur. Let me see what you can do. Let me see what you can do on the piano. That's
Billy Joel do that piano man. By the way, were you one of the angry, disgruntled people like Mad Dog and many, many others and thousands when they on CBS took the Billy Joel concert off? Did you watch it that night? And then they went to local news and you weren't throwing stuff at the TV like many people were all up and down the East Coast?
Love Billy Joel as a performer. Some of his music I like. I'm not going to sit and listen to him long term. Okay. And I heard a little bit about that. Was it kind of like back in the day when it was the Raiders and Jets, the infamous Heidi game?
Oh yeah. Well, and also people with the passing recently of O.J. Simpson, who certainly had a checkered life, especially towards the end. He was a decorated athlete, and then was embroiled in the whole murder trial with Nicole Simpson, his ex-wife, and Ronald Goldman. But you think back to OJ in Game 5 of the NBA Finals in '94 with the Rockets Knicks. They went split screen on the TV, and at the Garden, people were going nuts about that whole thing during his chase on that Friday night. Which it's odd that 30 years later, here we are with both the Knicks and the Rangers chasing championships yet again. With the Rangers getting ready to start a second round series against the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Knicks getting ready to take on the Pacers, who they have some rivalry history with after outlasting the Sixers in 6. But I want to get to coaching news, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You can speak to this from recent experience. I'm not trying to bring up bad things here, but There are two coaches that have been shown the door. One locally here in the 757 from Hampton, and that's Robert Prunty. And we're not even clear on, has he been shown the door? Was it mutual? But the news came out this week. I forget if it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what day this was this week. I'm pretty sure it was Monday because I was over at a couple of football showcases. And by the way, went to Emory and Henry's camp they had over at Todd Stadium. Did not see the head coach, who I know is going through some medical procedures and some health situations. We want to wish all the best to Kurt Newsom, who's been a loyal friend, follower, viewer, listener of the program. We've interviewed him many times. We want to wish Kurt all the best on getting well health-wise there. But the head coach of the Wasps, who used to coach at Kickotan and Heritage, Phoebus High School's got roots to the 757 nonetheless. But a lot of the coaches we're talking about, high school coaches included, just asking me what in the world's going on at Hampton, because I don't know if you've heard or not, Ed, they obviously hired a couple of new basketball coaches, both on the men's and women's side, one of which played for you at Norview High School in Norfolk, and Ivan Thomas. But Robert Prunty, literally here as spring football is, rocking and rolling, we're underway with, college football only a few months away. Robert Prunty will not be back as the head football coach for the Pirates. He was 26-29 in 5 seasons. He became the 4th coach in 11 years back on December 8th of 2017. And now one of his assistants, according to the athletic director, Anthony Henderson, who, by the way, his son is a darn good football player, youngster at Bruton High School. Nonetheless, Mr. Henderson saying that Trent Boykin, who's got 28 years of experience coaching college football, will be the interim head coach for this season. He's worked on the FBS level, I believe, including with Henderson at Akron, Ball State, and Boston College. And now he's going to be the man as interim head coach while also still serving as running backs and special teams coach. There's not been any real reason for the dismissal or departure, however you want to, phrase this, couch this, but 8 weeks after basically putting the finishing, buttons on the spring football practices, Hampton University's got an interim head football coach. They were 5-7 last season. And there has not been a direct comment yet from Prunty or Henderson. I know there's supposed to be a press conference next week to introduce Boykin as the interim head football coach. But this is not, your typical news button item on a Monday or Tuesday as the month of April is closing and the month of May is starting that a football coach is out. We'll get to the one on the basketball coaching side of things in the NBA ranks in just a moment. But your reaction and thoughts to Prunty out, interim coach taking over, and as the case always is now, we just talked about it in last week's show or during last week's show about the transfer portal and Duke having a mass exodus, and Duke is a tech-rated college hoops program. Don't want to compare Hampton University football to Duke basketball, but nonetheless, is the big concern now keeping the players and not having a mass exodus here. I know the portals, the other day it was closing, but do you worry about the state of the roster and the camaraderie and chemistry here with football season just a few months away if you're HU?
It is a little tough for me to talk about coaching situations based on what's happened to me lately. For those that don't know, I'm out as head coach at Nansemond River, not because I want to be. They just don't want me back, and still waiting for a bona fide solid reason. And kind of been in a fog the last couple of weeks myself because the urge, desire to coach, very strong. I still think I have a lot to offer. Energy level is as good as any of the youngsters that are out there running up and down sidelines. And but that's a whole nother story. The Hampton situation.
We'll tell you later about what's next for you later. But go on about Prunty. Go ahead.
The college level, and I won't try to act like I'm running other people's programs, but I can say this based on what we're doing right now. Football season's over in for most college teams? December. I would like to think by January 1st, whether you're keeping your coach or not. And it's important because of recruiting. College level is the lifeblood of college sports is recruiting. So my thing would be, if I'm the president / athletic director of a university, college, whatever, and I'm fairly sure I don't want my coach back, he's going to get the word in January early. So we can jump on and get somebody in there because of recruiting and transfer portal and all that. To let somebody go end of April, unless something recent happened that upset the apple cart that had nothing to do technically with how the season went, I don't understand why you let a guy go this late. Hampton is hiring the interim coach. I always feel this is interesting. Apparently, they don't feel they can go out and get somebody right now because it's late in the process to take over. So we'll just name an interim coach and let them kind of take over. Not saying that that's bad, but and I would hope that the person that got the interim job would do well enough that they'll keep now if head coach is not staying on board. And what I just thought was just so different was we hear the rumors he's gone. It's announced he's gone. And then they talk about having a press conference a week. We'll have a press conference a week later to talk about it. Usually you have the press conference to announce he's leaving for whatever reason. But it's just done different, and it leaves a lot of question marks on it as to what's really going on. And not being close to the situation, really can't speak deep into it. I'm more or less speaking about the process of how that would go and what most schools would do. Same with basketball. Basketball season's over pretty much in March at the college level. You'll see teams fire coaches, the day after the regular season or as soon as they lose in the tournament, so that they get somebody in there and take care of recruiting. Because again, lifeblood of all colleges is recruiting.
Well, and the crazy thing is, Ed, and sometimes, and eventually stuff will leak out about what transpired here. Was there a disagreement between coach and AD? Was there something that the coach did wrong? And even if it had, and we're not necessarily going to put it out there, but usually you'll find out within 24, 48 hours. I had coaches asking me, I was asking coaches, and there's still no real clear cut on what transpired there and what happened there. A lot of surprise. Even some, as you know, many of the coaches in our area, football, basketball, track, you name it, have ties to both Hampton and Norfolk State, as well as Old Dominion, Christopher Newport, Virginia Wesleyan, fill in the blank, whatever school it might be here in the 757. And a couple of coaches that have ties to HU that I reached out to via text, they were surprised. They didn't even know, one of which had spoken to Prunty just 2 days prior to this news coming out. So very strange, and we'll see what happens with the Pirates and HU, and wish them all the best. And you do wonder, does this have any impact on their recruiting as well? Because, again, all these colleges out for recruiting. I know some college showcase days coming up for some of the high school football teams in the area with that taking place. And before we get to Russell Savage after our break here, he's coming up to talk about the Sports Card Collectible Comic Book Autograph Show at the Fieldhouse right next to the Sportsplex a week from today, May the 11th. We've got Phillip Sims coming your way as well. Big 7-on-7 football event at Princess Anne next week, which encompasses not just the entire area, but a lot of teams from around the state coming down. Dinwiddie, one of them. And we'll get to our Derby picks at the end as well. There are a couple of coaches in the NBA that are on the hot seat. Frank Vogel and Darvin Ham. Well, one got the axe on Friday, and that being Darvin Ham. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see the comments of the night. I actually like them, even though I don't totally agree with him all the time. He's more entertainment sometimes than substance and insight. We're talking about the Hall of Famer, part of NBA's Inside the NBA crew for TNT with Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, and Shaquille O'Neal. That's Charles Barkley. He had some very candid words about those that have been critical since the dismissal, or I should say the elimination of the Lakers 4-1 to the reigning world champion Nuggets, and the Suns getting swept, his Phoenix Suns, he once played there, by the Timberwolves 4-0. Good job by Ed, bad job by me who took the Suns. I don't know what I was thinking on that series pick. Nonetheless, here's what Barkley said about Ham and Vogel the other night.
Also, you said you wanted to say something about coaching.
Yeah, part of our job, we watch all the games and we watch all the talk shows. A lot of these people on television, they're cowards because they want the players to like them. They don't want to do their job, which is to tell the truth. And I just want to say this about coaching. Anybody who thinks the reason the Lakers suck is because of Darvin Ham, or the reason the Suns suck is because of Frank Vogel, you don't know what you're talking about. Frank Vogel is a hell of a coach. Darvin Ham is a hell of a coach trying to get his career started. But for all you punks, idiots, and jackasses on other networks who want to be media and who want all the players to like y'all, do your damn job. The Lakers suck and the Suns suck because of the players. Has nothing to do with the coaches. I feel better now.
Here, I can tell. Looks like you're getting that off your chest.
I did. I hate it, man. You sit there like Darvin Ham needs to get fired. Frank Vogel needs to get fired. Who put them teams together? Them trash-ass teams put together need to get fired. Them guys, they didn't just all of a sudden suck as coaches. People who put them teams together they start packing up their stuff.
That reminds me of something that happened here. Instead of some of these people that needs to get rid of coaches, they should get rid of some of these crazy ministers sometimes, and people don't know what they're doing. Oh, my bad. Ed, your thoughts, reaction to what Charles said. He said, do your job. I thought it was Bill Belichick for a second, but very poignant words. And debate and we'll have more time later in the show because, again, we're going to take a break and have Russell Savage coming up with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. But your reaction to what Barkley had to say, and Darvin Ham is gone, and then the early odds makers are saying that the front runner is not Ty Lue from the Clippers, whose team got ousted by the Mavs last night, but rather Rajon Rondo, former Kentucky point guard, former Boston Celtics championship point guard. You shake your head. You don't like that pick? And what do you think about Mr. Ham as the Lakers are now hamless?
Okay. First of all, Barkley, I love Barkley, even though I don't agree with a lot of things he says. This is one I definitely do. And the way he said it, oh boy, I wish I could say it that same way. And at times I do. And he made the comment about some of these other talk show people and everybody trying to go under the radar a little bit, to be liked and whatever. And I've always said this in this business, that, just tell it like it is, and which Barkley is well known for. When Darvin Ham got hired by the Lakers, I made the statement, he won't last. Number one, to get started his career was the wrong team to go to. And I don't like to do this, but I do it. Darvin Ham is a tremendous assistant coach. I don't see him as a head coach. I just don't. He's been all right, but he was head coach of the wrong team. The way that was put together, it was a disaster. It was a disaster waiting to happen. And I'm going to say this, and it's going to make a lot of LeBron James fans mad. LeBron James is one of the greatest, probably in the conversation with Michael Jordan, as the greatest player ever. He'll never surpass Jordan, in my words. Never. But he's been a coach killer. So
is he alone, though? Did Kobe have 9-10 coaches too? Kevin Durant? Is he alone?
No.
Okay,
no.
I'm just wondering.
LeBron James is deferred to too much. The administration, the upper echelon of the front office, when they make a coaching move, they go to LeBron James to get his graces. So if LeBron says no, and I'm going to say,
wait, didn't Giannis have some input on Adrian Griffin getting ousted? But okay, so it's not just a LeBron issue. Maybe it's today's modern players.
It's in the NBA does it more than anybody else. Example, Atlanta Falcons, and I don't want to start jumping all over the place. Kirk Cousins was like beside himself when he heard they drafted Michael Penix, Falcons. So in other words, Kirk Cousins wasn't alerted that, hey, we're going to draft Michael Penix. I'm not so sure you need to tell him. Now, maybe out of courtesy, you could have said, hey, we're going to draft the quarterback. Don't think he's taking your place right now. We just paid you $180 million. We expect you to be the starting quarterback, but he's long-term for later on. I mean, what's Cousins, 37 years old? So, and I can understand that. I sometimes go to my top players in high school and ask them their feelings or suggestions about certain things, especially when I've hired assistant coaches. I've said, hey, what do you think about this Hatfield dude helping us out? He's thinking about being an assistant with us. What's your feel? Because he's going to be coaching those kids, so I want to get what their feel is. The bottom line is this with the Lakers situation. That team needs to be blown up, and they need to do some differences. And I'll tell you right now, I got the best head coach for that team. Rondo is a joke to have as a head coach, and I'm not downing Rondo. And JJ Redick, please don't get me started on JJ Redick. Don't get me started on JJ Redick. LeBron James is the perfect coach for the Los Angeles.
So Bill Russell, player coach. Okay.
Yes. Now go back in the NBA history.
That'll work out real well when things go bad.
Right. It's the one sport that has had player coaches. Bill Russell comes to mind. A young Dave DeBusschere with the Detroit Pistons. I think he was 28 years old, was named player coach for a couple of years for them before he became a star with the Knicks later on. There's been Lenny Wilkins, Richie Guerin. There's been people now. It's been a long time ago. You don't see that in baseball, and you definitely don't see it in football. But I'm telling you, LeBron James is the best to coach the Lakers. And I'm not saying it as a joke. He's
very smart.
9 years old.
He's very savvy. And I will say this, if it goes bad, then he has nobody to blame but himself. So I do get what you're saying in a roundabout, somewhat odd way. I do.
Yeah, and I've thought about this since I heard Ham was gone, and actually before Ham was gone, because you can do it in the NBA. He's not playing 48 minutes a night. He's 39 years old. He's still productive. He's still a weapon out there. But let him coach the team. I would love to see how the players respond to him when now, as coach, he gets all the brunt. Now he gets it as one of the best players, but the bottom line is, you haven't heard in the last 2 Laker coaches, it just ain't working. Let's fire LeBron.
Yeah.
It's the coach, and they got rid of Frank Vogel. Now Phoenix, I don't even want to talk about Phoenix.
Well, they haven't fired Frank Vogel yet, but
No.
you know about Lakers got rid of Frank Vogel. Yeah, you're right.
Vogel
Phoenix
hasn't
is
been
probably
fired,
getting rid of. And don't get me started on our boy Bradley Beal, who snubbed us years ago at the PLEX coming on the show. He was a dog in game number 4. He stunk up the joint, but we could go on this for hours and hours. We could. We got Russell Savage waiting patiently for us, Ed. But go ahead. Final thoughts before we go to break.
I think you're going to see Durant leave Phoenix, which probably needs to happen.
Yes.
That team probably needs to be redone a little bit. Not Frank Vogel's fault. Frank Vogel is one of the best coaches around, and he just doesn't.
I don't know if he's one of the best. And again, I don't know that Ham and Vogel are great. I think they're both at times shaky coaches. And, I kill coaches. I'm the first to say Budenholzer, get him out the door, get rid of this guy, fire that guy.
That's partly the reason I'm fired.
No, I'm not. Oh, yeah, blame me, I'm sure. But I will say in this instance, it was refreshing to hear Barkley say, you know what? Be quiet. All you guys got to stop. The Ham went to the Western Conference Finals. They won more games this year, and we're going to get rid of him because they didn't beat the Nuggets. We're just flat out better. I mean, it's becoming a joke in a lot of ways. Coming up next, we've got Russell Savage to talk about the Sports Card Comic Book Collectibles Show. You see it on the screen there. We'll tell you more about that when he joins us next after the break. Right now, we're going to hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us to do it with you each and every Saturday from the Plex and all over the world, all over the globe. Stay tuned. Back in just a moment.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
Welcome back to 757 Sports Talk. No, it's not in the pool. It's Hatfield and Young at the Plex, the Virginia Beach Sports Plex. Here are 2 guys that, even though they never shut up, they're always dropping pearls of wisdom. Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe with our YouTube channel on Cova Sports TV. We're also on Facebook, IG Live. I'm at Hatfield Sports 2K4. Our Twitter or X page, 757 Sports Talk, and VirginiaPreps.com and Facebook too. Russell Savage now our guest here on the program. He is the man behind the scenes organizing the 757 sports card shows, collectible comic books, Pokemon, autographs. You'll see it on our screen right now. There you have it. Look at all the great guests coming up. Bill Pulsiver, DJ Dozier, Joe Washington, Rick Doc Walker for all you Washington football fans, Ed Glenn for some Tides and Mets fans, and the Greyhound for those of you that love Norfolk State. Behold the green and gold. Bobby Dandridge coming by as well. Free admission, over 230 tables, and it'll be all kinds of fun. Russell, thanks for stopping by. How you been?
Oh, fellas, thanks for having me on. I sure appreciate it.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It has been. Going back from our radio days, now we're on podcasts, so they can not only see us, but hear us. Ed's always says we had faces for radio. Now we have faces for podcasts that people can actually see, plus bobbleheads in the background. And I see in your background, you got some O stuff, so you got to be pretty happy. Baltimore Orioles going to be fighting Ed's Yankees to the finish line in the American League East this year.
Man, as a lifelong Orioles fan, it's been great the last couple of years, and and living downtown Norfolk, being able to go to Tides games all the time has been great the last few years with all those prospects that have been coming up.
Yeah, let me get to that with you because I'm sure that's part of how this all got started for you. That those that don't know about Russell Savage, how did you get into the autograph, sports card, and this whole collectibles, genre? Because it does have a lot of neat stories that can be told for it. How did it all get started for you? And have you been able to secure some of these neat guests that have ties to the 757? Some not so much, but fans come out in droves for this.
Well, it all started as a 10-year-old kid opening up a pack of Topps baseball cards that you get at the grocery store as a kid. And so here we are 30 plus years later. Always loved baseball. I played baseball high school through college. And then I became a vendor for sports cards 10, 15 years ago. And then just naturally evolved into running my own show here with my partner Phil here the last 3 years, and we've taken what was a little small local show that you guys were at when the first time we had DJ Dozier at our small show 2.5 years ago, and now we've turned it into the second largest show in Virginia, where we bring in multiple autograph guests. We've got well over 200 tables of sports cards, Pokemon, comic books. So it's been a long evolution, but the last 3 years has really been, a speed up of getting it to where it is today.
And Ed is one of the biggest sports card and collectible fanatics in America, as you well know, Russell. So I know he's excited and pumped for this, and he'll probably be over there trying to trade with people and do all kinds of things with the cards and all his. Boy, look, trust me, I helped him move a couple of times from city to city. This guy's got not just more suits that he's coached in than anybody, but more. I thought I had a lot of sports cards and stuff. It doesn't compare to him. Good gosh.
No, and Ed's been at the show a couple times, and we sure appreciate that. And
Hey, Russ, first of all, great to have you on. I'm excited like a kid opening that first pack of cards.
Oh, yeah.
Which is similar to the story I had of getting into the business myself of collecting. I should qualify business because the business aspect has destroyed the card industry. And I'm not talking about what you're doing. I'm talking about some of the dealers that have just taken some of the fun out of it and the companies themselves. And I also blame Beckett. And people in the business know who Beckett is, what Beckett is about in the business. But I do want people to understand something. I've been to a lot of card shows up and down the East Coast. Russell's gig is probably the best. And I don't say it because his face is on our show right now. I'm saying it because I've been in the place and what he does and what he offers. And I'm telling you, people, get out and see it. If you're even a casual observer, go out and see it. The autograph lineup is the best. And here's something Russell does. And Russ, I really commend you on this because I'm cheap, but not as cheap as Hatfield. He doesn't charge admission to these. Most of these type of shows.
All of them.
Yeah.
For what I know and with the research that I've done, I know we're the largest show on the East Coast that doesn't charge admission.
There you go.
I haven't finished all the research, but we may be the largest collectible sports card show in the nation that doesn't charge admission. And a lot of the decisions that I try and make with the show is I try and put my hat back on as a 12-year-old and would 12-year-old Russell approve of this? And it doesn't make a lot of business sense to not charge admission as $1. But we try our best to make it a community event, and even before our Fieldhouse shows, the night before at the Fieldhouse, we host a trade night where it's, again, we even feed people when they come to trade night. So, and it's just an old fashioned, people will come, it's in the cafeteria area at the Fieldhouse, and people will come and trade cards amongst each other, maybe buy and sell amongst each other, but very casual event where you can just come in and be amongst other collectors in a very casual setting.
I'm glad you brought that up about the free admission, guys, because I remember back in the 90s when I was younger, I went to one. Correct me if I'm wrong, Russell. You probably know this. I think Richmond used to have these all the time. I think it was like a Tough Stuff show. And
Tough Stuff was the biggest one on the East Coast.
Yep. I remember going Chipper Jones because one of my buddies was a lifelong diehard Braves fan. To get him, I stood in line for like an hour and a half to get him an autograph for Chipper Jones, and it not only cost to get in the building, but it cost to get Chipper's autograph. So it was a twofer, if you will. And sometimes the athletes, fans will want to take pictures, but you guys do a pretty good job of making them fairly accessible without imposing on their time. How difficult or challenging has it been to get certain athletes? And I'm sure you've been told no by some, but also others you've been probably amazed at, wow, just how accommodating or easy to deal with they could be at times. What's that been like for you in this whole process?
As you can tell with a theme of ours, we try and have either guys that are local, they grew up here, played here college, or they've played on an East Coast team. And we've been amazingly lucky with some of the guys that we've brought in that, like you said, they're very accommodating to the fans, where they'll take pictures, take time, and, tell a story or two. Hojo, one of the best that we've had, we're going to have him back here for a third time. And I think it's October, where, he'll stand up, take pictures with you, tell stories. And a lot of these guys, DJ Dozier, who we're bringing back for a second time, great guy to listen to some of those old stories. So the other side of it is we'd like to bring in some bigger names, but so we can't afford some of those bigger names. But we're getting up there. We got Bobby Dandridge, who's a Hall of Famer. We've had Dwight Stevenson, another local NFL Hall of Famer. So stay tuned. We're going to bring in some bigger names here in these coming months.
Talking with Russell Savage, he from the 757 Sports Card Comic Book and Collectibles Show, our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. You see free admission coming up for this event. And again, it's going to be May the 11th, show hours from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The trade night on Friday, May the 10th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The autograph guest lineup, including Ed Glenn, Bob Dandridge, Rick Doc Walker, Joe Washington, Bill Pulsiver, and from Kempsville High fame, DJ Dozier. 757cardshows.com for more details. Ed?
Hey, Russell, one of the other big things that I see on the lineup, and I've seen it when you were there, and you don't always get this at a lot of these shows, but you have people there that will authenticate autographs.
Yep.
In the business, this is big. If you have an autograph of somebody, a real autograph, not a print autograph, and you're looking for value, if people wanted to have value on it and sell it, you need to have it authenticated. Go into that for us and tell us the difference between a print stamped autograph and a true autograph, and what does it really mean? Also, Russ, if I go get a card autographed by somebody, does it devalue the card? Or if I have it authenticated, it ups the value. Go into all that realm about authenticating autographs.
All right, so I'll go into the devaluation of getting an autograph on a card. 10, 15, 20 years ago, that was very much the theory was, and especially with a rookie card, was don't get that signed. It'll devalue the card. It'll deface the card itself. And as an industry, that's really switched here probably, like I said, in the last 10 years, where it will actually add value to a card. Now, maybe not the Mickey Mantle, Jackie Robinson, but take, for instance, a Bob Dandridge rookie card. You get his autograph on it, and then you get that authenticated, and then it will increase the value of the card. Now, the importance of getting an autograph authenticated is, one, as Ed had said, some of them are real, some of them aren't. They may be a stamp, or kind of like the printed on the card itself. But a real autograph, and you can get that autograph authenticated, because there are fakes out there. Anytime there's a chance for more money to be made, there's going to be people trying to take advantage of that. And, I think it's Michael Jordan and Mickey Mantle, the two most faked autographs out there. Two of the easiest autographs to make, but when I talk to the fellas at JSA, when they come to our show, it's about a 80-85% failure rate for Michael Jordan cards, or cards, basketballs, Sports Illustrated, and any type of memorabilia like that they fail, because Michael Jordan's the most or second most faked autograph out there. So that's the importance of getting it authenticated, having a third party put their stamp on it and say this is real. So then that way there's no ambiguity between you and who you're trying to buy it from or sell it to, trade it with, there's an insurance there that says, yes, this is a authentic autograph on this photograph, on this card, on this helmet. So it's very important, especially monetarily, to make sure you get those autographs authenticated.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that. Like I have a small basketball, the autograph type ball that has a white panel on it where guys can sign.
Yep.
And I have a ball that when I was coaching the PIT, I've got some different people signed it. I got Jerry West, Wes Unseld, Elgin Baylor, Kevin McHale. There's 2 other guys on there. Pretty much all Hall of Famers.
Yeah. I mean,
all of them write it on there. But I've been told by many people that ball is really nothing until I get it authenticated. So I got to dig that out of storage. I got it put away so well, I forget where I put it, but it's in storage. Bring it to your show and see if those guys would let me know what that would be worth, because all of those guys are in the NBA, and I think 1 or 2 that signed it are obviously that passed away now, so they're not going to be signing anymore. But
unfortunately, yeah,
right. And I don't get things signed because I want to resell them. You know, I think Matt even asked me when he helped me move, because it broke his back when he was moving just my cards. He was trying to move all the albums that I have.
Pain, Russell. I'm still in pain.
Yeah, it was a labor of love. But a lot of it is just for the sake of collecting that you have it. But, you know, I'm not no spring chicken, so I don't have any son to pass it on to. So all these cards, and I've got close to 1 million and a bunch of other stuff too. I got a baseball bat that one of the places we used to do a road show at, and I forget their name, Matt maybe remember it, but they made me a Louisville Slugger bat and my name's on the bat. You know, that's a nice piece of little thing for me. I think worth nothing, but to me, but and I'm still waiting to get my bobblehead. Somebody says my lawyer here, Vinny Vanu, looks just like me, and I'm waiting to get another bobblehead of me with actually in maybe coaching gear.
We don't need 2. One's enough. We don't need 2, do we? One's more than enough.
Matt, I think Russ might have. I think I forget my old age. I think he has something waiting for me that I need to pick up.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a 9x11 or something that he
said.
8x10
of when the 500 wins. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So and it's we charge Russell to be on the show. Now Matt don't know this, but I charge Russell, and since things are going up in the country, 3 packs.
Oh, it used to be 1 pack. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
look at this.
3 packs of cards.
See how he moves the goalpost? He doesn't tell anybody, Russell. He just magically moves the goalpost on his own. Yeah, that's how it works for me.
There's some things I have to run on this show, because this knucklehead over there, I don't know what he's doing half the time.
Sort of like when we go to the Admirals game for the first time ever for a playoff game a couple weeks ago. It's like, yeah, I'll get the tickets, but then you're going to pay for concessions and all that stuff. But wait a second, concessions is up being more than the tickets half the time these days. But hey, before I turn it back to Ed, I know he's got tons of questions for you, and our time is as well. It's not as limited as it used to be with radio with commercial break. We do have commercial breaks with podcasts, but we have Phillip Sims coming up top of the hour, Princess Anne football coach, former standout quarterback in the area. I do want to know real quickly though, just as a former big time collector, and I'm sure a lot of fans wonder, what is sort of the hot item right now when they come to a show like this? You got comic books, you got Pokemon, you got sports cards. As you know, the business goes up and down. It's like a roller coaster sometimes. It has its ebbs and flows like the stock market. What right now is kind of the flavor of the month, whether it be with the kids or the adults, the old-timers? What's kind of the hot item or items right now?
Well, the big growth item, and this has been the last couple of years and currently are Pokemon cards. COVID had a really big deal with that, in that, you know, you had the kids that were collecting Pokemon, but then you had all the adults who had collected it back in the late 90s through the 2000s, and they got back into collecting. So it kind of created this groundswell of collectors within the Pokemon space. And then, you know, on the sports card side, it's right now it's Victor Wembanyama. I probably butchered his name, as I always do, but he's the real hot card right now in the NBA, because it's his rookie card year. And so any chance you can get a Victor rookie card right now is great.
You were close enough. It's Wembanyama. Wemby Mania, as they call it. But, you know, and you're right on 2 fronts. My dad loves Wembanyama. He's, of course, a Spurs fan, number 1. And number 2, my 7-year-old niece, who hasn't watched a lick of Pokemon, And I was out there back in the day when I think it was Target had get these Pokemon. This was Black Friday after Thanksgiving. My folks had one of their grandkids wanted to get one of those old Pokemon book bags. I'm knocking over old grannies and people to be one of the first 20 to get the whatever Pokemon bag, and that thing's still been in our house for like 25 years now. But she collects these cards, so you're right. The kids are all into them, whether they watch or know what Pokemon is. It's new. It's almost got like a little Taylor Swift type effect to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, because everybody else in your class is doing it, so why not you?
Yeah. Ed doesn't have any Pokemon cards, I don't think. Do you?
I don't know. This was a few years back. I don't know. I never bought one in my life. But when I would buy the monster boxes from flea markets or whatever, there'd be a bunch of Pokemon cards in there. And I'm getting ready to throw them out. And one time I just put them all together. I think I gave them to somebody somewhere. It's probably something that was valuable, but I didn't really look it up and worry about it because I'm concentrating on the baseball, basketball, football cards. And I do have some pro wrestling, but those are the sports that I have stuff of. Probably my earliest card that I've gotten from somebody, I think I have a 1940s or 40s card. I got a lot in the 60s. And Russell, I wanted to segue into that. In the industry, the card industry, and I have a lot of people tell me this. They'll come up to me knowing that I'm a collector, and they'll say, I got LeBron James' fifth-year card. This is a lot of money, isn't it? And I'm like, that's probably $1. And they're, what? I said, well, there's just a lot of them made, and it's not in great demand. I said, you have to have cards from pretty much back in the 70s, maybe 1983 backwards in tremendous shape to have a, quote, value money card. Explain all of that situation about vintage cards and why somebody's card nowadays may not be much money, but maybe 30 years from now will be.
There's three basic things that helps with the price, or the high or low of the price. It's one, obviously, is the player itself. Two is the rarity of the card, and then three is the condition. Rarity gets into it in the fact that in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, the further back you get, the cards are more rare. They're not printing them anymore. Now, today, you fast forward and you talk about that fifth-year LeBron James card, and if it's just his, base, Donruss or Upper Deck card, and there's a million of them out there, it's probably worth $1 or $2. Now, there is you've got your printed cards in that year. If it's not base, they're called like refractors or parallel cards or inserts, and those are kind of like a forced scarcity in a way, where the manufacturer will number the card 1 out of 25, or there's only 50 of this card made, or 100 of this card made. Or another thing that they've done is cards now come with the autograph on them already, or a patch of their jersey, or for baseball, it's a sliver of the bat itself, some game used materials on it. So that'll help with increasing the price of it itself. But, vintage value for vintage will conceivably never go down, because they're not, that 1952 print tops that they printed, they're never going to print those again, and they're only becoming more rare. So that value will always just go up and up and up. Now, the modern cards, it's a roller coaster. It could be, unfortunately, the players today, there's scandals. They can get injured. Or, another reason why a lot of people have gravitated towards Pokemon cards is Charizard's not going to pull his ACL. He's not going to tear his ACL. There's not going to be a labrum tear in his shoulder. Pikachu's not going to, go out and get 5 DUIs overnight, because they're just characters. I mean, so, I can name off a bunch of players that people have invested a lot of money in the last few years, and they've gotten injured, or there's some type of scandal, and that'll immediately, decrease the value there. So, but the Pokemon cards, I mean, there's again, Charizard's not tearing an ACL, and they're not going to not print the next Charizard because something happened to him.
Good point, Ed.
Hey, Russ, the other thing a couple of things I want to go, and then I know we got to move on. The autograph lineup is tremendous. Now, I've had people say to me when they go to certain card shows, they'll see a lot of retired players or players from the past where it's all quote today's stars. And I try to explain to them, first of all, a lot of those guys are in season. You're not going to be able to get them. Yeah. And the other thing is a lot of those guys are in such demand, and they have agents and so forth and so on. You're going to have to pay for their time. It's just the way it is.
Unfortunately, I equate it to they make so much money now. Not that their autograph is worth that much money. It's just it's going to take them $20,000-$25,000 just for them to get out of bed.
Exactly.
And if I'm paying them $20,000, then now I've got to then charge each person for that. Let's just say $100. And are you going to want to spend $100 to get just some random guy on a roster, or will you get 3 Bob Dandridge Hall of Fame autographs at that same price? I'm not saying that the current guys, some of them it's totally worth it, but you're going to they're also under they're exclusive with certain companies too.
Yes.
So, they can only sign here, or they only do private signings, so they won't do any in-person signings. So that's a reason why, we bring in a lot of the retired guys, is that one, they're more accessible. And, the entire lineup that I have here, I could, or do I bring in one, mild superstar who's currently playing? So, as a business choice that we've made, we'd rather bring in a bunch of the retired players. And again, they've got ties to the area. You'll see that we bring in a lot of former Tides who were former Mets, a lot of Redskin players. So we've got a theme that seems to work.
And my point is I tell the people, this is, to me, as a collector, a fan, better, because they're more personable. You could talk to them, you get autographs, you get pictures, everything else. And you hit it perfect. You're going to pay from walking in the door, and it won't be $1, because you got to pay for these people. And a lot of times, some of those big timers, I hate to say it, once you get them, you don't want them back again, because they're just not as personable. It's more like a job for them. It's a money thing for them. Not all, but it's like that. So
it's a job. And then also that if that promoter or the person that's bringing that autograph guest, if they're paying a lot of money for them, they want to maximize every dollar for that. So they don't necessarily want that guest to stand up and take a picture with everybody, tell a story, because time is money. And, luckily with us, I mean, we're bringing in guys that are quite affordable, but still desirable autographs. But it allows us also to allow the experience of listening to the story, taking a picture with them. So again, I for our show itself, I'd rather bring in, a bunch of different players that will provide an experience versus just, bringing in the high price guy that really they're just going to sign an autograph and go to the next one, sign an autograph, go to the next one. And it's like the chow line. It's just get your food and go, get your food and go. So,
hey Russ, I got to do one more thing. First time ever, I've pulled out of my stack 2017-18 Panini Essentials NBA. I'm going to break it on air, as we say. We're going to rip this on air. Okay, this is monumentous occasion. It's never happened in podcast history that we know of. Notice I am opening this in a diligent, safe way, because tell me, Russ, down the road somewhere, that
guy right there
could be worth some money, right?
Yeah.
Carl Anthony Towns. So we don't just rip it open. We do it in a delicate manner so that the pack still looks good. Look at that. Look at that. Do I know what I'm doing, or do I know what I'm doing? Hatfield would have ripped it open, used it.
You don't know what you're doing sometimes.
And it'd be all over the place if Hatfield did it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
When it comes to some cards, this guy knows what he's doing.
Sometimes.
Now, the other thing, when you touch cards, don't put your fingers on the
It looks
face.
like DeRozan. Is that DeRozan?
Okay.
Who's that?
We've got DeMar DeRozan.
A good guess by me. Oh, he plays with the Bulls now. He's going to wrap it from that picture.
Now, that's Essential Stars. So Russ knows it.
By the way, hurry up on this. We got Phillip Sims waiting patiently, and you'll have him on at midnight at the rate you're going. Go ahead.
Hey, Phil, hold on. When you get a card, we'll give you more time.
He's got cards. As a matter of fact, he's probably going to be mad at me because you're taking so much time. I won't get my Cardinals jersey. But go ahead.
Phillip, don't be mad at me either.
Yeah, it's not Russell's fault. Go ahead.
Be mad at me because he just has to get in line. That's all.
Well, yeah, it's a long line. Go ahead. What else you got besides DeRozan?
Russell, I got Tyler Dorsey, rookie card Hawks.
Who? I never heard of him.
Oh my God, Jeremy Lin, back
heard of him
from the Brooklyn Nets.
Lin Sanity.
Yeah, that might have some value to it.
Oh, here's one I love: Jason Tatum, Boston Celtics.
There you go.
There you go.
We're gonna win it. Oh, okay, here's one for Mr. Hatfield. Manu Ginobili. I got Ginobili.
Manu Ginobili. Okay.
Rondé Hollis Jefferson out of the league.
All right.
Dario.
You can show him on the screen, by the way, instead of just keeping them to yourself.
Okay.
Go ahead and show him. There you go.
Dario.
Shiny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good looking cards.
Not worth a lot, Dario Sarge, but go on.
Anthony Davis.
That's an Appel's uniform of AD.
Yeah.
And they're brown.
Royce O'Neal, does he even still play?
He does. It shows how much your pitch. He was with the Suns who got swept away.
He's playing for
Still
Suns.
mad at him, by the way, for other reasons. Go ahead.
I can't say this guy's last name.
Urson Ilyasova.
Ilyasova.
Yep.
Okay.
It takes you 10 minutes to open up a pack of cards. That had been done 2 minutes ago.
That's why you don't
Steven
collect
Adams.
Steven Adams.
Yeah, I'm
the
on
whole
the next
box.
thing. I know. Oh, I did love hobby boxes now. Are you done with your pack?
Yes, he puts his cards in the spokes of the car.
Oh,
Because it makes a good sound.
and who's that? That's
Uh-oh.
Giannis. Oh,
There's
that
my
could work a lot.
There's my card.
There
Wow.
it is.
That's the Giannis special. Okay. Greek Freak.
Okay. That's a
Ed's
good
got
one.
enough money now to go on vacation, Russ. You'll be doing the show with me next week while he's on vacation.
Now I can go to Russ's show. Justin Patton.
There you go. All right.
DeAndre Jordan, who I think is in the G League.
No, he's at the backup center for the Nuggets, I believe. Or no, is he with the Nuggets? He's with somebody.
And OG.
He's with the
One of
Nuggets, I
best
think.
First names in the NBA, OG.
Yeah, OG.
OG.
All right. So Giannis would be the card, right, Russ?
Yes, that was it.
He'll be
Yep.
the card.
Him and
Couple
Tatum.
dollars,
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, Russ, it's always a pleasure. And before we get off the air today, you're giving us a $50 gift certificate to give away for next week's show. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can use for any of our autograph guests or multiple autograph guests. So good luck to whoever wins that. And
All right. We'll either do a trivia question or whoever can tell us what Coach Young's middle name is. We'll figure out something to see who gets that trivia. We'll decide later on in the show.
Am I eligible to win? What's the rules of the
you're
show?
ineligible. You're one of the hosts. You cannot have that. Sorry.
I tell you what,
Thanks
Ed,
for being on the screen.
I'll let you into the show for free. How about that?
There you go. I like that. Good job. There you have it. The
Another
free
guy
admission-
playing with my feeble brain. Russell,
Virginia
free
Beach
admission to
Fieldhouse.
begin with.
Yeah, listen,
Hey.
he's been nice with you. Come on.
It's super free for you.
Super
Hey.
free. That's better than regular
You know
free.
one thing, I'm coming. I need my 3 packs.
Yep.
And if you have the 8 by 10, that'll be great. If not ready yet, I understand that
I
too.
still got it right over there in my
All right.
in my go box. So.
Good deal.
good,
There you
good.
see it. May 11th is the Virginia Beach Sports Card, Comic Book, Pokemon, and Collectibles Expo with the autograph guests like Rick Doc Walker, Ed Glenn, Bobby Dandridge, Joe Washington, Bill Pulsiver, and DJ Dozier right next to our building at the Sportsplex at the Fieldhouse. Russell, always a pleasure. We thank you for the gift certificate giveaway, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Thanks, fellas.
All
That's
right, Russ,
Russell
thanks
Savage
again.
with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Coming up next is Phillip Sims, the former record-setting quarterback from Oscar Smith, who now coaches at Princess Hannah High. They got a big 7-on-7 next week, but we'll hear from Phillip when we come back. Right now, though, we'll hear a word from our sponsors that make it possible for us at the Plex. Stay tuned to Cova Sports TV.
Pain and Gain, your one-stop shop for all things field hockey. Located in Princess One Shopping Center, Virginia Beach, we carry everything you need on the turf, from black sticks, turf shoes, mouth guards, and much more. Try out your stick before you buy in our synthetic turf area. Pain and Gain. Embrace the pain, enjoy the game.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League Two Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
I'm Dr. Mark Cardelia, orthopedic surgeon and surgical director of the CHKD Sports Medicine Program. We see a lot of knee injuries in student athletes these days, and many of these are ACL tears. Parents often ask how to know when a knee injury may be serious. The most obvious symptom is severe pain or swelling in the knee joint. Your child may have heard a pop when the injury occurred. Look for signs they can't put weight on the knee around 48 hours after the injury, or if the knee feels unstable or wobbly. Those are all signs you should see a CHKD sports medicine specialist. Our sports medicine physicians, surgeons, athletic trainers, and physical therapists understand the needs of growing athletes and tailor treatment to fit each child's age and level of activity. Our goal is to accurately diagnose the problem in a timely fashion and provide the treatment that will ensure a safe return to activity. Kids want to play, and we want to help them get back in the game. To learn more, visit chkd.org. Sports medicine at CHKD. We're more than a hospital.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
All right, we are back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We are joined by a special guest. He is the head football coach of the Princess Anne Cavaliers out there in the wind, getting ready for football season. He'll be here before you know it. He set records at Oscar Smith, of course, touchdown passes, passing yards, then went on to play college football at Alabama, University of Virginia. Got a chance to make pros with my Arizona Cardinals, Seattle Seahawks as well. I think it might have been the Saskatchewan Roughriders as well. He'll tell us about Phillip Sims, so kind of join us. Phillip, thank you for waiting as Ed was going through opening a pack of cards. You see what I deal with on a Saturday? This guy, it's like a child. It's nonsense. It's nonsense.
No problem, man. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We're going to pop it up on the screen. Hopefully folks can see this. There it is. It's the Phillip Sims 7-on-7 Battle at the Beach. Registration coming up 8 a.m. next Saturday. You got a bunch of teams. If people can't squint and see it, I'll read you the teams you got, like Princess Anne, Indian River, Churchland, Dinwiddie, Warwick, Hickory, St. Michael's, Huguenot, Kings Fork. You got, I think it's Caroline, Granby, Denby, Western Branch, Manchester, Lake Taylor, Elsie-Bird, Norcom, Nansemond River, Grassfield, Wakefield from Northern Virginia. Action going on from 9 a.m. until past noon next Saturday. So you got to be excited and pumped for 7-on-7 football at your place, PAHS, and this coming up to be your second season at the helm there, right?
Man, I'm excited. It's been a lot of work, but I'm excited for the event. We've got a lot of stuff to serve the community. We've got some vendors. We got some food trucks. We're going to have a lot of great football players and great teams. We've got over 20 confirmed college coaches to be in attendance. So the biggest thing was making sure that we were getting the kids the exposure that they needed, that they deserve, and giving our programs a platform around this time of the year to kind of showcase who we are and give people a little sneak preview of what to expect this season.
And Phillip was out there last weekend after we were done doing our show from the Plex with the U.S. Army Bowl Combine that took place, and a lot of good quarterbacks I saw out there, but I didn't see any that were quite Phillip Sims level good. There were some good ones, but I don't know if they've got records in the books and the chance to go play at Alabama and UVA. Some good ones out there, Ed, but I'm not sure they quite have the Phillip Sims stuff that he did.
I mean, I think there were a few out there that have got bright futures ahead of them. We saw a couple of the young guys. I think they have some really, really big time potential to do some really great things, and I'm excited to see what they do moving forward. My day is come and gone. Now it's my turn to kind of help prepare the next generation for what's to come for them. So hopefully we'll see all of the records that I had fall. That's kind of my goal now, is to kind of produce the next generation of record breakers.
Yeah, he's pretty modest. He was a heck of a player back in his day. 119 touchdown passes playing for Rich Morgan's Tigers, who won the first ever state championship in school history. He, along with that great team that featured Perry Jones and Tim Smith, the record he set for yards and TDs later broken by another Oscar Smith QB and Sean Mitchell. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. And again, Phillip Sims got his 7-on-7 battle at the beach next week at Princess Anne High School, featuring 20 teams of all-day football fun action on May the 11th. Ed?
Hey, Phil, first of all, great to have you on. I'm sitting there saying to myself, man, Phil, you're getting old. I mean, it just seems like 2 years ago we were watching you slinging the ball and setting records. Or does that mean I'm getting that old that, I'm about time to head into
Coach, you getting better. I'm getting old.
I kind of like that.
I'm getting old. I'm out here. I'm working with kids that I played with their parents now. So, I'm getting old.
And people don't know. Phil, let's go back in time. As you coming up as a youngster, early years, maybe let's say middle schoolish, freshman year, what things were going on for you to be, now that you go back and look at it, to develop, to become the quarterback that you were? You were absolutely one of the best. When you say about your records, you're right. Put an S at the end of record. There's a lot of it that you went through that helped you. And then look at it in today's kid as to what's in front for them. Such a 7-on-7. Back in my day, which is way back, 7-on-7 meant basketball with 2 subs. Okay? So explain what back in your early days, what you went through to become the coach, the player that you were, and then parlay it to what's happening today.
I had a great support system. My parents, uncles, family members, friends. I had a great support system that put me in position to be successful. I had great coaches. You guys talked about Coach Morgan. I had some great, awesome coaches that put me in a really good position. And I played with some talented guys, man. Like, at the end of the day, yes, I did quite a few things on my own, but without the help of those guys around me, the Tim Smiths, the Perry Jones, the Gerard Askews, the Evan Hales, and the list goes on and on and on, I wouldn't have been in the position to do some of the things that I was able to do. So I had a lot of great people around me, top to bottom, that kind of propelled and put me in a position to be successful. And translating that to today's game, today's society, these kids have got a lot more on their plate. Social media, the NILs, and transfer portals, all that kind of stuff makes it a little bit harder for some of these kids to blossom and to achieve their goals. So they're working against a lot more than we were in my day and age. So it's part of my job to kind of help them navigate the newer things that they have to deal with, more so than what I had to deal with in my playing days. It was kind of just playing ball, going to school, and that was it. These kids have got so much more on their plate. So it's a coach's job to kind of step in and help these kids navigate those waters.
Let me steal one of what I think is probably Ed's questions, because he steals mine, I steal his. That's what we do on this show. In terms of the NIL and the portal, I'm sure you, when you're sitting with your buddies and fellow coaches, former players, former Tigers, whether it be a Perry, a Tim, fill in the blank, you guys talk about, man, we just came out maybe 10, 15, 20 years later, we'd have got a lot more money, I'm sure. But how do you all think you would have handled it 10, 20 years ago, A, and then B, now being a coach, what type of advice do you try to pass along to the youngsters? And I'm sure you still use people that were your coaches in high school, like Coach Morgan, Coach B, and guys in college. You coached you for some sounding board at times, being a young head coach in his second season at Princess Anne after coaching up in Richmond at John Marshall and J.R. Tucker. Give me your thought on A, what it would have been like if you had to deal with the things we have now, and then B, being a coach, what do you try to tell the kids?
It's hard to say. I don't really know how we would have navigated. Of course, we know that there would have been some opportunities there for us to kind of capitalize on some of the success that we would have had financially and kind of help our families out. But at the same time, you don't really know how you would handle something until you're in that situation. So it's really hard for me to say, honestly. Of course, we all would have loved to have that opportunity, but I am happy that these guys have these opportunities now, more so than anything. And the biggest thing when you're talking to them and you're trying to help them is getting them to understand that keep the main thing the main thing. At the end of the day, the main thing is school and football. The money, the deals, all that kind of stuff, that'll come. and you'll be able to capitalize off of that stuff. But if you're not having that success, you're not being that productive player on the field, then none of that stuff's going to be available to you anyway. So it's keeping the main thing, and focusing on what's truly, truly important, which is playing the game of football that you love and taking care of your academics. Those two things open up the doors for the rest of the NILs and all that kind of stuff. But you got to take care of those two things first.
We're talking with Phillip Sims, our guest here, Princess Anne head football coach, former Oscar Smith QB, who played at the University of Virginia and Alabama, also in the NFL. 7-on-7 coming up next week. Battle at the Beach, our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Ed?
Phil, boy, a lot of questions to ask you. My mind's jumping all over the place. Let's look first and foremost, your 7-on-7. Explain to those that may not understand what really goes on in a 7-on-7. It's actually 7 players against 7 players, a little bit of a hybrid type of football situation. Explain what people will see if they come and watch this.
Okay, so 7-on-7, like you said, is kind of like a abbreviated football game. You'll have your skill guys, your receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, DBs, and linebackers out there on the field. And it's pretty much two-hand touch, no equipment, no tackling, nothing like that. Kind of the ideal of 7-on-7 was to give the skill guys an opportunity to get some timing work on the concepts offensively and work on coverages defensively. But it gives us the opportunity to get a look at our guys early on in the offseason and see what we need to improve on, see what we need to work on. The point of the event is to expose these kids in a football environment to college coaches. It's kind of hard for college coaches to evaluate high school kids in the offseason because there's not much true football being played in the offseason in the state of Virginia. So this is an opportunity to put them in a football environment and allow them to showcase their talents and their abilities in front of college coaches. But we'll also have a big man camp going on as well. So all the teams involved will bring their bigs, and those guys will compete in some drills. They'll compete in one-on-ones in some group type of settings so that they can be evaluated by the college coaches as well.
Well, now, that's what I was going to ask you. What about those big fellas up front, the linemen? Because as you well know, if you ain't got them up front, Phillip Sims may not quite have as many records, maybe rushing yards you might have because you'd be running for your life. And I got to bring up a fellow friend of both of us from back in the day. Scott Burnett is going to want to make sure that his big fellas are being taken care of.
Absolutely. We wanted to make sure that we had something available for the big guys. Like you said, the skill guys, everybody loves them. Everybody loves to watch them, but the success really happens in the trenches on both sides of the ball. So without those guys, there isn't much winning going on. So you got to make sure that you're giving those guys an opportunity to not only work, but develop. And also, we want to give them the chance to be exposed to the college coaches as well. They deserve the attention as well. So sometimes I feel like they're forgotten about, but I wanted to make sure we took care of them as well as the skill guys. We wanted this to be a complete event for the whole team, not just a few guys, not just your top tier guys, not just your skill guys, but for every guy on the roster.
Talking with Phillip Sims, the former record-setting quarterback from Oscar Smith, now in his second season at the helm of Princess Anne High School as the head football coach. 7-on-7 battle at the beach here. Before we let you go, a couple more for you. We thank you for the time here, Phil. I want to ask you too, your second season at Princess Anne. I'm sure we'll dive into it as far as personnel, players, that things as we get closer to kickoff of the season. But how's it been for you in year 2 at PA and getting adjusted, or I guess readjusted to the 7-5-7? But I'm also sure it's quite different than what it was for you at John Marshall and J.R. Tucker. Give me sort of an assessment here, year 1 to year 2, and what you've learned in the whole process.
Year 1, as everybody knows, you're going to go through your lumps and your bumps. You got to kind of restructure your program, get the program organized the way that you would like to see it happen and play out, kind of creating the program in your image and what you want your program to be about, those core principles. So a lot of it is kind of getting those guys to buy in, getting the coaches on the same page and all that kind of stuff. Year 2, you kind of make that transition into, okay, we laid the foundation. Now we need to take the next steps moving forward. We've been able to get some guys in the building to come out and play some football this year. I'm extremely excited about what I've seen from our guys starting back in January with the all-season workouts and the all-season program in the weight room, on the track, And once we were able to get out here on the field and start making some developments as far as who we're going to be schematically and some of those types of things, I'm extremely excited about what we've been able to put in place. So I look forward to some good things. I'm looking forward to a good showing from our guys this upcoming week, and I want to piggyback that and kind of run that on into the summer as we prepare for a great 2024 season for the PA Cavs.
Cavs trying to make some noise as one of the 11 members of the Beach District this coming year for the football season, which will be here before you know it at the end of August. It starts off for folks in the offseason with an event like the one they have at Princeton next week with the 7-on-7, Ed.
Hey, Phil, got to ask you, your position, quarterback, and you were, again, one of the best at it, got to play at a high level. We saw this a couple of weeks ago, the NFL draft, 6 of the first 12 guys, quarterbacks. First 3 quarterbacks. We saw last year, 62 guys take snaps in the NFL. Guys getting hurt, teams falling apart as soon as their main guy gets hurt. Speak to those people out there, that probably the dads, that, hey, I got a son here, I got to make him a quarterback, he's got to get to the NFL someday. What, if you're going to be a quarterback, what needs to be done at the young level, at the high school level, and as you move on, things that you really got to be zeroing in on from that quarterback position?
There's just got to be a commitment from the kid. The kid's got to really want to put the work in and put the time in to be top tier. Quarterback's not a position that you can kind of be half in, half out, or 50-50 about. It's something that you got to be truly 100% committed to doing. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It's not all good. You're going to have more bad days than good days. So you got to be able to understand that, know that, and be okay with that. It's okay to fail. It is. Everybody's going to fail at some point in time. It's okay to fail, but just know that that next day, that next hour, that next practice, the next rep, you've got to bounce back. Everybody's got eyes on you. Like you said, it's the most famous position in sports. Everybody's got their eyes on you. Everybody's focused on you. But you gotta clear out the noise, focus on yourself, and focus on putting your teammates in the best position to be successful.
And I got to know before we let you go here, Phillip Sims, 7-on-7, Battle at the Beach next week, May the 11th at Princess Anne High School. How often, be honest, do you have to bring out the bling? Because you not only got a state championship bringing Oscar Smith in 2008, but you also, was it a national championship bringing Alabama? Was that 2012? Do you bring out the bling sometimes to maybe not so much show it off and brag about your buddies, but also give the kids a little inspiration? Like, ooh, that's pretty nice if I put the work in, right?
I don't bring it out too often. Only special occasions. I'm a firm believer in that was stuff that I did in my playing days. That was goals and accomplishments that I was able to achieve, but it has no bearing on me as a coach. It has no bearing on our program. So it's not something that I kind of bring around our guys too often. I want them to set their own goals and try to achieve those with their own kind of focus. I don't think that that's going to do too much or change too many minds or change the mentality that we have by showing around some jewelry. I love the jewelry. I want some more jewelry. That's why we do this. I think that's why every team sets out in the offseason to achieve that goal, to get some jewelry. But as far as me bringing around the guys and stuff like that, not too often, only on special occasions. We win one here, I'll bring all of them out though.
I can respect that. That's fair enough. And he did tell me last week, though, at the Plex, he's going to hook me up with a Phillip Sims Arizona Cardinals jersey. I will rock that thing if you do, Phil.
I got you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you.
I love it. I'm going to wear that in front of Ed every time we win games this year. And we got Marvin Harrison Jr. now. I'm pumped, Phil. I'm pumped.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good season for the Cards.
I love it. Ed's a Raiders fan, so he's just going to be mad and angry and upset all year.
Phil can't help me out. I'm a Raider fan and a Steelers fan, diehard.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Phil, that'd be like rooting for Oscar Smith and Indian River. You can't do that. You can't be a Raiders and a Steelers fan. That makes
he picked two good ones, though. I can't be too mad at him. He picked two good ones. It'd be another thing if he was talking about I'm not going to throw any teams under the bus, so I'm going to keep that to myself. But we know the difference between the good franchises and the struggling ones. So
we do.
At least he picked two good ones.
He did pick two good ones, like he likes the Knicks and the Celtics, who could play in the Eastern Conference Finals, but he does not like the Red Sox to go with his Yankees. So, I mean, this is what I do with every Saturday. So, but hey, we're looking forward to it next Saturday. We thank you immensely for the time. Look forward to catching up with you again here on the program as we get closer to kickoff time, and it should be a great time out there next week. They got food trucks, as you heard, going out there. Princess Anne High School will be a good time next week for some football, 7-on-7 with Phillip Sims and company. Always a pleasure. Enjoy your weekend, my friend, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me, and see you guys next week at the Battle of the Beach.
There you go. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Bill.
Phillip Sims, our guest here, the former Oscar Smith standout quarterback who is now coaching at Princeton High School in his second season at the helm. You got the 7-on-7 next week, Battle at the Beach. Should be a great time out there for that. All right, we're going to take a timeout. I also got word, Ed, we've got a third guest that's going to join us. We just got word he's going to join us in about 7-8 minutes or so to break down the horses. Our good buddy Darrell Wood is going to join us, we think, to talk about some Derby. We reached out last night. He got the message late this morning. He says he still wants to come on if we want to have him, and we want to have him, right? Why not? We'll take instant guests.
Gotta have it's Derby Day, man. We gotta have him on there. And I can't wait till he talks about my special horse. Can't wait.
Your special horse? You already know the name of the special horse?
I know name of most every horse in this Derby, boy. I've looked at it left, right, up, and down. You think you've done your homework, and you probably have because you do. I've got a few pennies on a couple horses too.
And I think Darrell is still a part of VirginiaHorseRacing.com. We'll get that clarified when he comes on with us. But with the Virginia Equine Alliance, he's been involved with horse racing for so many times, for so many years, I should say, Colonial Downs and all that good stuff. So we'll talk about the Derby coming up with Darrell Wood after we take a time out here and come back with more here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. And when we come right back, you'll actually get to hear an interview with one of the young men that we caught up with last week over at the Combine, and that's Jahmari DeLoatch of Oscar Smith. So stay tuned. Right after this, from a word from our sponsors.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
All right, here with Oscar Smith defensive back from the class of 2025, Jahmari DeLoatch. He received the official invite today to the 2025 U.S. Army All-American game, as he's one of the standouts here at this combine today at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Jahmari, pretty cool thing. I know you get all district, all region, all state accolades. You want to go compete for championships, but this had to be something pretty special for you to walk away with here today.
Yes, sir. It is. I'm very happy that I got this invite.
Sure. Now, you didn't expect to probably coming in, or did you say, all right, I can get this and something special like this could come my way?
I knew that I had a chance to, but, I want to come in here humble. I want to come out here cocky, telling myself, oh, it's mine, because, it's a lot of good athletes out here.
Sure. And you've been having a really fine offseason, accumulating more offers, getting more attention as far as recruiting goes. For you in football, when did your love for the game kind of get born? Was it when you were a little guy? Is it when you first got to high school? Kind of when did it accelerate your progress and your process, if you will?
I'm not going to lie. When I was younger, I started football at like 7, but I didn't like it.
Okay.
I was like a gamer type kid.
So what changed for you?
Growing up, realizing I had to do something with my life. I had to, because I realized my whole family came from Smith. My whole family was athletic. So I was like, I'm going to give football a try again. And then I fell in love with it.
And you've got a lot of schools in the picture right now. Who's kind of at the forefront as far as favorites go? I know your offer list continues to grow, but who are the schools sticking out to you that are making you a priority and you may visit and consider when you kind of trim things down or ultimately decide?
The top schools in mind for me is Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Michigan, Vanderbilt, and Cincinnati.
All right, let's take this a little bit we can by one. Virginia Tech, what do you like about the Hokies?
The Hokies, it's a great atmosphere. The fan base is very nice. The coaches, they feel like family when I talk to them.
Okay, who was the next one you mentioned after
Wake Forest?
Wake Forest, what is it about them ACC school as well, right?
Yes, sir. The campus, just seeing the area is very, very calm. It's peaceful. It's somewhere I can see myself living. The coaches is very nice, and I love it. I just love the school.
You mentioned Vanderbilt from the SEC. What intrigues you about them?
Vanderbilt is when it comes to Vanderbilt, it's no negative to me. Vanderbilt has everything that I look for in the school, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And Cincinnati's in the picture. Bearcats have sent some guys to the league defense. Does that appeal to you? And what else appeals to you?
That is very appealing to me, especially knowing who the coach is, seeing how he coached. That stands out a lot to me. The history, that's important to me as well. It lets me know that the Coach Cohen knows what he's doing.
Sure. And I don't believe else. I think did you say Michigan as well? Defending champ. So that has to be something that appeals, right?
Yeah.
What do you like about Michigan?
Of course, the defending champ part, definitely. I've been there a couple of times, so that's also seeing the place. Mm-hmm. It's always something new. It stands out a lot to me. And, they got the new coaching staff, so it is kind of a new process for me.
Sure. A few more for let you run. As you distinguish between Michigan and Cincinnati and Virginia Tech, all the schools in the picture, Wake, Vanderbilt, how do you differentiate? Because you can't go to all 5 or 6. You can only go to one place. How do you kind of distinguish this will be the overriding factor or factors for me?
Right. So stuff that stand out to me would be how I would fit into their defensive scheme, the environment, how I would live outside of football if I'm comfortable, if they what I want to achieve in academics, if they meet the standards for me, and the coaches. The coaches, people say don't really go somewhere because of the coaches, but I feel that is a big part. And of course, staying far from home. Making sure I'm not far.
Absolutely. So location is going to be a key element to the process too for you. Speaking with Coach Chris Scott earlier, he was like salivating like a dog in front of steak because he's hearing about the secondary guy. Yeah. I got him. I got Jahmari. I got Jacoby Marshall. I got Jaden Debs. All these guys. He's excited about it. For you as a defensive back, what do you think are your best traits? And you're comfortable playing safety or corner, right?
Yes, sir.
What are your best parts of your game?
What I think my best traits is my feet. I have very quick feet and I'm very patient. I can get aggressive, but I also can think that can be like a downgrade. Like I'll get too aggressive, but I think those stand out the most about me. My speed, definitely. My speed helps me play more relaxed because I know that I can make up my mistakes.
And it felt like that recovery speed just hit on with something you used today to kind of funnel guys to the sideline. You got advantages in your one-on-ones. Last two for you. What are you working on technique-wise and leadership-wise for this coming year as Oscar Smith tries to surprise some people? People say they're not a championship level team, but I think you guys are pretty confident you can be, right?
Yes, I know. We got a lot of guys that people don't really know about, which I'm excited for. I'm working on like the little things. It's really just the little things that I'm working on. That's really about it.
And lastly, as you get ready for the senior season, you set any goals individually that you want to accomplish in trying to help your team capture those things and win a championship? Any picks or PBUs, tackles in mind you got?
I want the Virginia high school pit record. I think it's like 12.
Okay.
So I'm definitely going to try to get higher than that. I want to get a lot of solo tackles because, I come off the ball hard.
What'd you have last year?
I think like 70, okay. 70, 60, around that range.
Okay. That's Jahmari DeLoatch of Oscar Smith High School. Thank you so much for watching.
Yes, sir.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
So you just heard from Oscar Smith defensive back Jahmari DeLoatch, who got that prestigious invite to next year's U.S. Army All-American Bowl. We've had some special guests throughout the morning, like Russell Savage with us about the autograph show next week, as well as Phillip Sims, the former record-setting quarterback who played at Alabama and the University of Virginia, also in the NFL with the Cardinals and Seahawks and Saskatchewan Roughriders. We have another special guest with us now on the program. Ed, it is Derby Day, and with us here is the horse racing expert himself, Darrell Wood. Darrell, thank you so much for coming on. You've been a guest of ours for years past on the radio side of things, and now we're on the podcast internet world where we have faces for podcasts. How you been?
Doing great, man. How are you?
It's our pleasure. Now, are you still with VirginiaHorseRacing.com? Who are you with now these days?
I am. It's the Virginia Equine Alliance. Actually, up here in Woodstock, Virginia right now. We run a harness racing meet up here in spring. So we've got racing today at 2 o'clock in the drizzle, but it's also Derby Day. So we're taking bets on Churchill Downs, obviously, all day long. So it's the one day of the year that everybody wants to be a horse racing fan. And there's plenty of ways in Virginia for folks to partake here.
Awesome. And we'll dive into that with you and what they can find on VirginiaHorseRacing.com, sponsored by the Virginia Equine Alliance in just a little bit here. But Darrell, just a quick overview of the race. Ed's got some horses he's circling. He's got a big dark horse I think he's been touting all show long, which we will finish the program with. We love the Derby. We love the Preakness. We love the Belmont, and horse racing is such a neat sport. I want to know, though, quickly, I've heard it's a really speedy race this year. A lot of good horses in terms of speed. Your thought on that A and B are the two heavy favorites as far as Sierra Leone, the number 2 horse, 3-1 at last check. Fierceness, the number 17 at 5-2. Are they as good as advertised and should be the heavy favorites in your eyes? Give me your thought on those two things. A, the speed, and B, are the favorites definitive favorites in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean the speed. There's a lot of speed early in the race, and that may set up well for Sierra Leone as a closer, along with number 4 Catching Freedom. We'll be curious to see that, and the amount of rain they've had over the past couple days. A horse like number 3 Mystic Dan, who's a proven mutter, might be somebody you've got to look at today. But Fierceness just had such a dominating outing last time out in the Florida Derby and won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile a year ago too. However, he's an every other start type horse. This is going to be the every other start coming off a great performance that he hasn't shined or shown. So, but again, or in the Florida Derby, I should say, was so great, won by 13 lengths, and he's the fastest in here. Does the off track play a factor? Maybe, but there just seems to be an awful lot of talent to overlook Fierceness to me for the winner's circle appearance.
Talking with Darrell Wood from VirginiaHorseRacing.com, our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV, all over the web on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, VirginiaPreps.com, Twitter, and X, and so much more. Ed?
Hey, Darrell, great to have you on again. I'm excited. It's Derby Day. I like the ponies, but Derby Day gets me excited. I can't say I'm a diehard race fan because I can't win no money on these doggone things because the doggone horses don't do what I want them to do, and that's win. Is this? It's a lot of horses in the Derby. Can we take out the 20 to 1, 30 to 1, 50 to 1 long shots? Can we kind of just say thanks for showing, or is there one of them that you might want to keep a side eye on?
Ed, this might be a year of haves and have-nots, and there's horses that are, I think, 3 to 1, 8 to 1, and then Fierceness as well as the morning line choice. But then there's a lot that really jump up in the 30 and 50 to 1 category. If you look at the last 5 years, the average win payout has been nearly $75 for a $2 wager. So you can look at all this past performance information you want and narrow it down. And yet over the last 5 years, when you get 20 horses going into the gate and the gates burst open at 6:57 tonight, anything can happen. And it's proven that over the last 5 years. The 5-year streak before that, the average win payout was $7.80. So we're in a trend now that long shots come in. I kind of like number 8 just a touch. Last year's Derby winner was Mage, and just a touch kind of follows the same path to the Derby that Mage did, and Mage paid a not real nice price last year. I think I look for the horse that might be ready to take that next step up. That's not really peaked yet, and that's my only concern with Fierceness after a 13-length win in the Florida Derby. Has the horse peaked, or is there still room that he can advance another step? But that's what makes this day so great and this race so great. 20 horses, and it's a crowded field, and you've got to find your spot, and you just don't know.
Now, I got to go with my namesake. Forever Young, Japanese horse. They say no, Japanese horse can win it. 10 to 1. I'm betting the farm on Forever Young. It's probably more my heart instead of my head.
I hope you're not farmless, Ed, when it's done. Go ahead.
Give me the inside out on Forever Young.
Well, I mean, he's 5 for 5. In theory, the best colt that Japan has ever sent over for the Derby. But he came out of the UAE Derby, which is over in Dubai, and UAE winners in the past are 0 for 19 in the run for the Roses at Churchill. One of my favorite handicappers, Derby Bill Watson, he's part of a radio show here in Richmond. He had his picks today in the Richmond Times-Dispatch. He's got Forever Young on top, and he's a guy that's followed this intimately for decades. So I've got to respect that. I just, the past history of that 0 for 19 UAE Derby winners coming into Churchill is a bit of a telltale sign, and I'm going to leave him out of my top 4, maybe regrettably, though.
Yeah, I want to hit on that with you, Darrell, because I know horse racing is changing. It's constantly evolving here. I've heard the thought that, going to Dubai and Saudi Arabia, places like that for the money. Well, I mean, you get why they're doing it, but maybe they should take these horses by age 3 to fairgrounds to get more accustomed to the American style of racing. What's your feeling on that? And do you think we're getting closer to that time where a Japanese horse like, say, Forever Young, or perhaps another horse in the years to come does break through and win a big event like, say, the Derby?
I mean, I just think with the when the gates open and you've got to get your horse in a position in a very crowded beginning, whether you're a closer, whether you're a front runner, and trying to get your style. I think it's a matter of time before we are going to see some of those horses do reach the winner's circle. But yeah, it's going to come, Matt, I think. And there's two Japanese horses in the field, right adjacent to Forever Young is Tio Passport, who's kind of a second string Japanese horse. I'm not going to look a whole lot at number 10, but Forever Young, again, brings a 5-for-5 record into the U.S. It definitely warrants consideration.
3 more minutes here with Darrell Wood, the horse racing expert, VirginiaHorseRacing.com. We'll touch on that before we let him go as well here on Derby Day on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead, Ed.
Hey, Darrell, we talk a lot about the horses because they're the ones doing all the work, but who's on top? We got to look at jockeys. Let's talk about who you think are probably the top 2 or 3 in this. Who's a jockey maybe we're not talking a lot of that can get – because I think, too, when they open them gates, some of them horses get a little spooked because it's a lot out there, and that's where I think the jockey really comes into play. So let's switch it over and talk a little bit about jockeys.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the best of the best in here, Joe. So, or Ed, rather. I'm looking at, Sierra Leone's jockey is Tyler Gaffey-Leone, and if there's going to be a closer in this race, and probably along with number 4, Catching Freedom, that's a jockey that really can navigate the right path and maybe give that horse an extra edge as he comes down the lane trying to close, assuming the front running speed is going to peter out a little bit. I think the great storyline in here is D. Wayne Lucas, 88 years old. He's got number 6, Just Deal. The most experienced horse of any in the field. He's had 11 starts so far. Can he keep on moving forward? That's the key. But what a great storyline to have an 88-year-old trainer, legendary 5-time Derby winning trainer, D. Wayne Lucas, get to the winner's circle. But the jockeys are all, Flavian Pratt. It's a who's who of top riders here. So it's all about positioning and today probably a little bit about the track surface as well.
And Darrell, before we let you run here, we always thank you for coming on the program. You can check out more on VirginiaHorseRacing.com. Tell us what they'll find up there. Again, as part of the Virginia Equine Alliance, if they want to get involved with horse racing, maybe there's some fans out there say, I want to throw a few shekels down, but I don't know what to do. I'm a novice at this. Give them some instruction. Then also, before we let you run here, you got to pick as far as win, play, show, a trifecta, a superfecta, and exacta. What would you throw out there today? And we can always brag about how right you were on our show if it happens. And if it doesn't, we'll just delete the tape.
Yeah, Tony Mercurio used to do that a lot with me. But I'm going to go with Fierceness as a dominant horse on paper, and hopefully that continues today, followed by a bit of an upset with the 8-horse Just a Touch. We'll follow that with the 2 closers, Sierra Leone and Catching Freedom, numbers 2 and 4. So I'm going to go 17, 8, 2, and 4 as the picks. Guys, there's 15 different ways that you can bet the Derby today in Virginia. We got hours to go until the 6:57 post time. Out your way, there's Buckets Bar and Grill in Chesapeake. It's an off-track betting center in a great bar right in the Great Bridge neighborhood. The Rosie's location in Hampton as well has got a nice horse book in there. 2 great places to watch and wager. Online betting, we've got 4 different partner companies in the state: TVG, ExpressBet, Twin Spires, and Naira Bets. Any of those 4 companies, you can open up an online account. You'll get some kind of bonus monies today for sure, and you'll be able to make your wagers right online too. But everything's at VirginiaHorseRacing.com. But I've been to Buckets on a number of different Derby days, and when those gates open near 7 o'clock and you're in a shoulder-to-shoulder crowd and everyone's hooting and hollering and they're there for the same reason, that's a rush and it's a memory. So I highly recommend that today.
Absolutely. It's such a thrill. There's exhilarating 2-3 minutes of horse racing. Doesn't get much better than that in the world of sports. And people here all across the Commonwealth, as you know, Darrell, love their horse racing from Colonial Downs on up and down. And VirginiaHorseRacing.com is the place for so much more. We also appreciate the great nod to when we lost in the late, great Tony Mercurio. You mentioned the blast man there. Darrell, always a pleasure. We thank you so much. Enjoy the Derby day. And I'm sure we'll be chatting with you and our buddy Mr. Hahn and company as we get closer to Preakness and Belmont time.
Thank you, guys. Look forward to it. Have a great day.
Thanks,
Darrell.
That is Darrell Wood giving us some great insight on the Kentucky Derby coming up. Again, VirginiaHorseRacing.com is the place to get so much more. And when we come back, we will close out today's show with our picks, as well as you're going to also hear before we sign off from another young man that's a standout football player in the area across the 757, as we have tons and tons and tons of all kinds of sports action for you. It's going from prep to local to college, high school. We've covered so much throughout this show today. Ed, 2 hours, jam-packed. You heard his analysis. He's going 17, 8, 2, and 4. And literally, if I look at my notebook, I had 2 of those horses in my trifecta and superfecta selection. So I like to say great minds think alike, because Darrell Wood has a great mind. Me, on the other hand, you might debate, I'm not so sure about your mind there, but I feel a lot better after Darrell gave me a little assurance about some of the homework I did preparing for this big Derby day.
Well, I don't have any question about your mind. It's mostly gone half the time. So,
yeah.
And the other half the time, we don't even know where it's at to begin with. So you don't need to question yourself. I can tell you that. As an observer, Darrell's very, very good.
He's sharp.
He's in there. When you bet the horses, I've been to buckets, been to, and I'm not a big time horse better, whatever. I like watching horses go. I like going up to New Kent to the actual track, sit trackside in the summer, watch the Virginia Derby and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of neat. I bet $1 or $2 here or there. Of course, it's legal, so we can talk about it. I can't bet a lot. I ain't got that kind of money. But to see, like he said, when them gates open and them people start going crazy, yelling about the horses and whatever, it is a rush. It's unbelievable. Of course, what I'm doing, I just want to make sure, where's my horse? Is he close to the front?
Yeah, that's what we all do. We always say, where's my picks at? And then you're throwing your tickets down if you don't win.
Yes. You hold on to them tickets, because you can have something happen at the end that they disqualify the winner or something. So hold on to your tickets till it's actually made that it is correct.
And Ed, as I mentioned, we're all over on Instagram. I want to thank our man Des Lee for shouting out. We remember Desmond Lee, heck of a player back in the day, watching us on IG. Great talk, gives us a little fist bump. We had on Phillip Sims, we had on Russell Savage, we had on Darrell Wood. If you missed any of the show, it's going to be available on our podcast page, Apple and Spotify, VirginiaPreps.com. We're on X or Twitter at 757 Sports Talk. We're up on YouTube, Cova Sports TV. Like, share, subscribe. You won't miss a thing. And we've got people, all kinds. I could go on a list of people that are watching and listening throughout the morning. It's getting closer to 4 digits, which is what we're aiming for, to be one of the best in the entire world. And we had a young man out there, Kel.2027 wants to know, tell Coach Young, or ask Coach Young, I think he meant, did he already eat his apple? What's he asking about for the apple? He also said, don't forget to send stats from last season. So I'm assuming that's one of your Warriors players from a season ago. He wants to know, what is this about an apple?
Apple day keeps the doctor away, keeps your teeth good. I eat one in school every day. I've not had my apple today. That'll come up probably. I got to get out on the road and do some things today. I'll bring my apple with me.
You ate an apple last week on our little video preview episode last week. You were in a car. You were just munching down on an apple.
See, it's a real thing. I don't just make up stuff. I'm eating apple. I'm eating bananas. I'm eating grapes. Took a bag of grapes to school today.
You know what you are? You're very fruity, and I'm just going to leave it alone at that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm into the fruits. I'm into the fruits in terms of the ones that we can eat that make us healthy. Strawberry lover. So maybe we can segue into sponsorship of some fruit in people out there, some farmers, some produce, whatever, because people, you got to eat fruit, vegetables and fruits. You got to eat vegetables and fruit every day. I try to tell my players this: eat an apple a day, banana, whatever. To have that, but I'll have my apples coming up in probably about another hour.
You got a new name there, the Fruity Ed Young. How's that working out for you, buddy? Say something funny.
Hey, I don't have any problem with it, because I've been called nutty. I've been called crazy. Some other words we can't really put on here, but
there you go, the Nutty Ed Young.
As long as I can keep breathing, you can call me all the names you want, because somebody once said, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
Oh, look at you. Well, we're going to come back. Do we have time to squeeze in Markus Hopson? I think we do. We're going to hear one more commercial break. We want to again thank one of our sponsors new on board, Nando's. You heard from them. Who have we not heard from yet? I don't think we've heard from our buddies at Chicho's or Zoop. Well, you're going to get a chance to hear from them in a drip bar.
I got to have soup. I got to have pizza.
Yeah, it's all coming your way here on Cova Sports TV, plus our Win Play Show Kentucky Derby picks as we sign off on this scintillating Saturday, the 4th of May. May the 4th be with you on this 2024 Saturday in May, Derby Day, right here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Ed Young's favorite Cova Sports TV. Back in a bit.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar IV Hydration and Vitamin Therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
I'm here with Phoebus All-State offensive and defensive lineman Markus Hopson of the reigning 3-time state champion Phantoms. He's one of the most underrated guys in the trenches in all of VA. Markus, you're getting ready for football. It's May now, and you're ready to go for the quest for four. Tell me about how the offseason grinds for your last hurrah here at Phoebus.
I feel like we having a great time. I'm just here to have fun. I want to just go on the last ride with my guys, 4P on the way, like Coach Blunt been saying. Just trying to have fun out here, man, for real.
Now, I always tell people linemen are not only so integral to the success of a football team, and you play both sides, O-line, D-line, but you're also the personality of this football team. So tell us about Markus Hopson off the field, what you bring to get the guys hyped up and ready for game time.
I feel like
Fridays.
Off the field, I bring in a big brother, like someone that they can look up to, someone they can talk to if they don't want to just talk about football. If you want to just talk about school or something, or you want to talk about what's going on at home, what's going on at the crib, you can just come talk to me. I'm just a friend, just someone to just be out here to have fun with you.
Now, you're an animal in the trenches.
Yes,
now,
sir.
what's best about your game on the football field as a lineman, in your opinion?
I feel like I'm so underrated as a size part that I can show that I am very strong and I can move very fast. I can cut really, really fast.
What's the key to you having so much success and being effective out there?
I feel like my coaching, like me as a captain, I feel like it shows that I'm not just here just doing it by myself. I got guys right beside me that can do it with me.
Now, recruiting's starting to take off for you. You've got double-digit offers now. Yeah. Now you've got Navy. I think Hampton just came in here today.
Sir.
You've gotten a whole bunch. Tell us about what's looked like for you on the recruiting front.
As of right now, I feel like I'm just getting started. I just wanted to show out that the small guys can do it too, man. I just want to show that it's not depends on the size of the player. It depends on the heart, for real.
For sure. Now, what are you looking for in a school? And if you're going to check out some of these schools that are in the picture for you.
I just want to, find somewhere that's home, for real, like somewhere that gives off the Phoebus mojo, like that can push someone that I want to be there all 4 years. I'm not trying to hit the portal. I want somewhere to just stay at home.
Hey, that's refreshing for college coaches to hear. You got some places you want to go visit here in the next couple of months?
Yes, sir. I'm going to be visiting probably Navy, Townsend for sure again, Harvard and Howard. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to visit Howard. Sure. Yeah, that's a good school.
Navy got a special place. I think were they your first FBS offer? I think
yes,
so.
Sir.
What do you like about the midshipman?
I feel like it's a hard thinking process about it because of the 4-year thing, but I feel like it's a good idea. I feel like I could think about it. It's something I could think about, definitely for sure.
Now, you mostly hearing defensive line or some offensive line people telling you as well?
Offense, defense. I feel like I just tell the coaches, I play whatever you want me to play, coach. I'm just here to play football.
Absolutely. Come on for you. What are you working on in your game? What are you trying to get better at in your craft?
I feel like I'm trying to get better on turning the corner a little bit more. I want to be more flexible around my hips to be able to explode through somebody. Yes, sir. I just want to beat everybody that I want to beat.
What lineman do you like watching on Sundays in the NFL or even college? Who are the linemen you study when you put some elements of their game in your own?
The newest lineman that just got drafted, actually, from the Seahawks drafted him. Okay. First round, Byron.
Okay.
Yeah, 5'11", 295 D lineman. He's a dog, man. I just watch him on the defensive side. Offensive side, I watch the Kelsey brother. I like smaller players because it shows you that you don't got to be 6'5" to play Power 5 football. You can be a small guy. You just got to have that dog in you for sure.
Lastly, you've learned some great Phoebus standouts in years past, guys such as Jordan Bass, Michael McMullen, Tayshawn Stevenson, Anthony Reddick.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about you now being the senior captain, what you're looking to accomplish this year individually, help your team get that 4-peat.
I feel like I'm just trying to show the guys that we're just here to have fun. We want to show coach that we can do it one more time, show the young cats that they can keep the legacy going. We're just not trying to just win and leave them here by themselves. We're trying to show them that we can get them better too while we're here, for sure.
The two-way dominating force on the line for the Phoebus players, Markus Hopson. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
All right, we're back here. Final segment on this edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. I want to thank all of our guests from Darrell Wood, the horse racing expert from VirginiaHorseRacing.com, as well as Phillip Sims, head football coach, Princess Anne High School, former Oscar Smith signal caller, record-setting signal caller, and also played at UVA, Alabama, NFL, Saskatchewan Rough Riders, Russell Savage, Sports Card, Comic Book, and Collectibles Expo next Saturday at the Field House in Virginia Beach. So much going on. Also the interviews with Jahmari DeLoatch of Oscar Smith and Markus Hopson of the Phoebus Phantoms. A couple of engaging young men who have bright futures, Ed.
I love both of those guys. Very distinct personalities. And of course, the linemen, the big dudes always be tripping on me in terms of his personality is great. He's going to be a very successful young man, be fun to be around. But I tell you what, on game day, he probably ain't one to mess with. He's looking to not only eat the pancakes, but he's going to pancake some guys.
All right, as we play the Feed Ducks music in the background, you say, feed the ducks, we're going to feed the horses. What are you talking about? Well, we're going to make our picks here as we sign off on this Saturday. I'll let you go first, Edward. Win, place, show. What you got for the 2024 Kentucky Derby?
All right, you already gave it away earlier. It's my namesake. It's what I hope I can be. Forever Young, the number 10 horse. He's coming in first. 5 for 5. He's going to break the 0 for 19 string. He's done a lot of traveling this year. Something over like 22,000 miles in terms of moving him around. Now, he didn't do it, but he was in the trailer. He was on the airplane. Hopefully that he'll get all that out of him and win this thing. And then I'm going to go chalk. Give me Fierceness, the 16 horse, number 2. Sierra Leone, 16 Fierceness, and then Sierra Leone, number 2 horse as the place. Win, place, show. Sierra Leone will show. And then is my long shot be ready?
You're all over the place. So let's get this right. Win, place, show, you're going 10, 16, 2. Are those the numbers correctly? So to recap it real quickly before I make mine, your win is Forever Young. Your place, which is second, is Fierceness, which is not 16, it's 17, by the way. You want to fix that?
Fix that then. Yep. Let me change that because this could cost me $2.
Yeah, it could.
And then Sierra Leone, number 2. Is that
all
right?
There you go. That's what we got here.
Then the long shot, who I won't be surprised, and Darrell even mentioned, I was kind of glad he said it, Just a Touch, the 8 horse.
Okay. Just a Touch is your long shot. 10-1, which is not a total long shot. All right. Here's what I'm going with to win this thing. Here's what I'm going with. You ready? I want to pick Fierceness, but I don't have the guts to do this. I think the value's not great. He made some interesting points about the back-to-back races for it. So because of that, I'm going to end up going not with Fierceness, but I'm going to pick Fierceness like you to finish in second. So if 17 is going to be the second horse, that's my place pick at 3-1 in some places. I'm going to go with, as my third place horse, I'm going to go with the number 7 horse. You see the number 7 horse on the screen? You don't see it on the screen. You probably see it scrolling across the screen. And that is Honor Marie. Honor Marie as my third horse. So 17th to place. Show is Honor Marie. And to win the Kentucky Derby, the pick is in. You can take it to the bank. I'm here to tell you, Ed, the winner of this year's Kentucky Derby is going to be, in fact, Catching Sweet Freedom, the number 4 horse. There you have it. And we're out of time.
Don't put a lot of money
to
down.
my man Michael McDonald with Sweet Freedom. You said what?
Whatever you do, don't put a lot of money down. I don't want to see you break windows and go crazy.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to have a good May the 4th. I hope everyone out there does as well. We thank you all for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll do it again next Saturday. We're not sure what time. It may be in the evening. It may be in the crack of dawn. It might be Sunday. You just have to make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Subscribe button is the key. And we'll do it and talk with you next week. Have a good one, Edward. Off. Bon voyage. See you later. You and Vinny. Have a good one.
Hey, yep. Vinny's here. We got things to do. We're going to be going. He's keeping an eye on you. He's checking you out. He's going to make sure. Vinny Vanu, that's my lawyer, friend, and confidant.
This has been another episode of 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Take care, everyone.